Hello, Year 8. This is Mr. Bono. I'm recording this during half term, so I hope you'll excuse my unshaven appearance here. Um, I want to just walk you through your task. And for 8E, you have this on Monday, and for 8T, you have this on Tuesday and Wednesday because you just have one class session each of those days. So when you click on this, your task, we're going to go and open up this file called 347 Fight Club. Excuse me, not Fight Club, Flight Club. Now, just have a look at the picture first of all, and let's zoom in a bit so we can really get a sense of it. Now you have a story starter. Now let's remember what was happening just a week ago before we went on half term. It feels like a month ago now. Um, you're focused on creative writing and you've been learning a lot of different techniques. So we focused on similes, metaphors, onomatopoeia. You got into description using the senses, your sense of smell, hearing, taste, touch, and sight. And using all of those to create character. We worked on openings and closings to stories. And now we're getting to the point where we're going to start planning stories based on an image and writing them. Because in just 2 weeks, you have your March assessment. And we'll be doing that assessment much like you're doing this assignment. You'll get a picture and you'll be asked to write a story based on that picture or inspired by that picture. Okay, so have a look at this one. Clearly, this is an airplane, an old style of airplane, and we have a little girl who has an expression on her face that I'll leave it to you to identify what emotions is she feeling here. The dog also is showing some emotion. Okay, so here's a little story starter to get us started. Flying is supposed to be fun, right? Poppy often dreamed about what her first flight would be like. She imagined it was like being a bird, free and weightlessly drifting through the clouds. The first part of the journey had been exactly as she'd hoped it would be. Jasper agreed, signaling his enjoyment by barking enthusiastically from the co-pilot's seat. Things were about to take a drastic turn for the worse. So that sets us up for an exciting story. Now, when you go to the second slide here, it says question time. Now, your job today, your first job, is to answer these questions. Now, there are no right answers. This is just for you to come up with some ideas about your story that you'll be writing from this image this week. Okay, so what do you think it is that Poppy and Jasper have seen that's making them look like they're looking? Where do you think Poppy got the aircraft from? Make it interesting, a story people will want to read. What will happen next? Where do you think they had planned on going? Will they reach their destination? Do you think it's hard to be a pilot? What skills do you think a pilot needs to possess? Do you think being a pilot is an interesting job? Now, the purpose of these questions is not for you just to quickly answer the first thing that comes to mind and move on. Now, it might be the first thing that comes to mind that you want to write down, and that's fine. Okay, but the point is not to answer quickly. The point is to come up with ideas that can make for an interesting story and then to explain them. Okay, so um, I would expand more than a word or two. Try to give something of substance to your answers here. Okay, now sentence challenge. Can you make a list of feelings that Poppy might be experiencing in the plane? Excited, shocked, nervous. Okay, any other feelings she might be experiencing? Can you start a sentence using one of these feelings? Now, here's an example. Shocked. Poppy gasped. as she noticed that it was now flying next to them. Oh, what might it be? Terrified, Jasper let out a loud howl as they entered the thick cloud. Okay, so notice how those two sentences start with an emotion and then a comma. And that emotion, shocked, is describing Poppy here. And that emotion, terrified, is describing Jasper. Okay, and it's just a different way to start a sentence. So try one yourself. You can use these as a model and just change it up a little bit. Okay, so that's the second part. So, first, you're brainstorming ideas for what's going to happen in the story. Second, okay, you're making a short list of emotions and then writing a sentence starting with an emotion like this. Okay, third step, these sentences are sick and need help to get better. Okay, like unwell. Can you help? Now, the first sentence says, the plane went through the sky. Now, it's not terrible, it communicates an idea, okay, but it doesn't grab our attention. The sentence doesn't help us see what's happening. Now, the word went is a little bit boring. It doesn't give us details. What other action words could we put in there that will tell us a little more about how the plane went through the sky? Okay, and maybe that's somewhere where you want to use sensory language. Maybe you want to use a word that helps us hear how the plane moved through the sky, or see, okay, or even feel, as if we're Poppy. What did it feel like to move through the sky in that plane? Okay, now the second sentence is, it was cloudy. Now, okay, there were clouds, but as you know, living in Belfast, where there are almost every day is cloudy, but each one's different. What were the clouds like? Were they big, thick, dark thunderclouds? Okay, maybe you want to even use technical language for the kinds of clouds if you know the different types of clouds. Cumulonimbus, I think those are the big thunder clouds. Okay, or maybe you just want to give a bit of description. Okay, the clouds glowed like what? Use a simile, for example. What did they glow like? The wind blew. Okay, again, try to help us see it, feel it, hear it. Okay, so you're writing here, you're rewriting these three sentences. Same idea, but make it more interesting. Okay, help them feel better. And finally, your last step here, imagine you can see through Poppy's eyes. Can you draw what she can see? So I just want to be clear, you are not actually writing this story today. What you're doing is coming up with ideas about what might happen in this story, okay, and writing them out in your English notebook, okay? Then I explained what you're doing here, okay, making a list of emotions and writing a sentence starting with one of the emotions, like that, fixing up and improving the 6 sentences to make them more interesting, and finally, drawing what Poppy can see. Okay, so that's your planning task for today. Good luck and let me know what questions you may have.